Well, hello and thank you for joining me for another Alex on Tech and iTWireTV video. I'm joined today by Katrina Barry. She's the CEO of me&u, billed as Australia's leading hospitality technology scale-up. Welcome to the program.
Lovely to be here, Alex.
Great to have you. Now, Katrina, I've used me&u at the Opera Bar and other places, but for those who don't know, can you please tell us about the company, when it started, and what it offers both the hospitality industry and its customers today?
Sure. Well, me&u was the first company that had a vision to transform the way that the world orders and pays. So we started back in 2018, and our founder is, grew up in restaurants, mad foodie, and he had done previously a hospitality tech startup, but it frustrated him at the time that I can get an Uber in 3 minutes, and then when I arrive somewhere, I just stand up, get out, and walk out. That's easy. And it frustrated him that he had to spend 20 minutes at Opera Bar waiting for a beer, whereas, he could, click on his phone and get curated content within 1 second. Yeah. So we'd all been, conditionalized to an instantaneous society using tech to make experiences better. And he was like, well, we should be doing this in hospitality. So Stevan was actually the first person, I think, globally to start thinking along these lines. And many others had followed. So we were born pre-pandemic, 2018, and we did our first transaction, I believe, in January 2019 at Opera Bar.
Well, there you go.
But how it works, if you haven't used it, is you get your trusty phone, you can tap on or scan the QR code. It'll bring up the menu exactly where you are, and it already knows what table you're at. It's a beautiful Instagram-inspired, beautiful UX design where you can just tap through, order what you want, double-click on the side, and you're paid. And then approximately 3 minutes later, your beer will get delivered, or the fancy rosé for me. And then in due course, 10 minutes later or something, your food will be delivered. And it's all paid for. So you don't have to wait around and do hi, can I get the bill? Oh, can we get the terminal? Yeah. Over here. Oh, yeah. How are we going to split this? Everyone can tap on, do it, and it takes 45 seconds, something that could take, 20 minutes. So it's about blending great tech so that me&u, can spend more time having a wonderful experience at whatever bar or restaurant we're at. But for operators, what's really incredible about it is all the technology that we have built in there to make operating a venue a lot more successful and more profitable. And frankly, in a hospitality industry that has certainly had the brunt of it the last couple of years, who doesn't love a 30% dropping to your bottom line?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to go through more of the questions about the benefits to taking people from offline to online. But what was the moment of insight that made you decide to join the company?
Yeah, well, we have this visionary founder, and he's like, I'm a startup guy, and but I'm not a CEO. So I need someone to sort of come in here and be my wing person and help me build this company and help take it international. And I've used me&u and a few competitors globally, and I was like, oh, okay, I can it's really useful, etc. And I was like, it has specific use cases. But the thing that actually got me over the line was my 72-year-old mother. Mm. If my mum, who, let's face it, hates technology, hates the iPhone, I have to teach her how to double click. I remember back in the 90s teaching her how to double click on the mouse. You're picking up what I'm saying here. Not an early adapter. So she saw her. I said, oh, I'm thinking about joining this company. And she got out her phone and scanned the QR code and went, oh, okay, I can see what's going on. And that was because the pandemic taught her how to use a QR code.
You were forced.
So this is universal. It's across generations. It basically makes the experience so much easier for consumer. It's loved by hospitality because it really helps your operations. And so I was like, this is just going to become the way that we pay. Yeah. So I love a growth business. This business is absolutely growing, this industry, but it's got organic growth because this is just the way it's going to go. And if my 72-year-old mother can do it, then anyone can. So was like, oh, okay, this is actually going to take off. So that's the moment that I went, I'm going to join this company.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Well, the pandemic saw a lot of digital acceleration take place. And I mean, we know about disruption. We've seen how Uber has disrupted the taxi industry, and there's plenty of examples. So how else has the hospitality industry been positively disrupted by digital acceleration?
Yeah, well, one of the biggest crises facing the hospitality industry right now is staff shortage. We've all heard about labour shortage across the last 2 years. And I don't know where all these people have gone, but it's the same story in the UK, the US, across Europe, and obviously down under here, is that no one can find staff. And that is just a result, obviously, of the pandemic and, labour redeployment. But I guess the key thing that's happened there is if you can't find staff, how do you continue to deliver a great experience? So this has enabled labour savings within hospitality in terms of you can take away that time that's required for a waiter to go up and take your order, blah, 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 run to the bar, punch it into the point of sale system. So technology has enabled hospitality to, even though they only have probably 70% of the stuff that they used to produce the same amount of output and serve the same number of orders a night with this kind of technology. So that's been incredibly useful.
So obviously, me&u's products were very popular during the pandemic, for those places that could stay open. But how many businesses have you helped go from offline to online with this tech?
Well, we're really just starting, I think, at the tip of the iceberg, because for me&u, we've got around 1,600 venues globally now that use our technology and our platform. And if I add up, all our competitors and their numbers too, we're really only sort of starting to scratch the surface. Call it 20,000 venues globally. Yeah. There's 15 million restaurants, in this world, and about 5 million of those have, this presents a really unique opportunity to blend great humanity and also great technology. So, I think we've only done, 1,600 now, but I think it's going to be huge across the entire globe over the next few years as this technology is adapted.
As you said, it's a growth business. So which countries are you in, just to ask you that question, seeing as you mentioned it's now a global business?
Sure. Well, my homeland, New Zealand, Australia, across the UK and America as well.
Yeah. So how has me&u transformed the ability to deliver high-level personalised service, and how has it made the often tedious ordering process much more engaging?
Yeah. Well, one of the sort of objections we find from hospitality workers and bar owners is, I'm not sure. I don't want to lose that humanity. We wouldn't have had a conversation if you didn't have to come to the bar. Where me&u blends great technology with great humanity is, instead of somebody looking at a piece of paper or looking, at an iPad, taking your order and not looking you in the eye or anything, and then, there's no real personal connection there. What me&u enables this to do is go, hi guys, here is your order. What are we here for tonight? Special birthday, special occasion? Oh, I noticed you got the large glass of wine there. Good luck on that one. So you get a lot more of the banter that I think, particularly down under, that we love about going out and that experience. So I think, using technology has actually enhanced the human connection in venue rather than detracted from it. So that's the first piece. The second piece is, look, my 50 engineers, they love doing anything that is smart. So with all the algorithms, and we're starting to flirt with AI in terms of how do you make the experience really personalized. So right now, I'll order my schnitty and my rosé, and I might order you something far more sophisticated, like a steak and a Shiraz. And after we've had our first one, Alex, I'll pull up my phone, and it automatically pops up another round, and it's got the rosé and the Shiraz on there already. That's one click, and we're done. And our second round is being delivered to us in 3 minutes. So that level of personalization in terms of, I know what you've ordered, would you like another round? That's it. That's the easy part we do. Then there's really smart stuff we do with all the data and the insights to go, okay, well, we know that this beer is typically ordered with this hamburger, or every person who orders this beer is likely to add on some chips. So we know all of those, and that's what we call, quick sells. It pops up and goes, hi, most people have all, you've ordered this, most people have ordered this, just like when you're on an online shopping experience. So that high personalization, giving you offers which you actually value and is based on your profile and your history is hugely powerful, for a great customer experience, but also for driving revenue for our hospitality partners.
Yeah, I mean, coming back to a venue that you love and having it remember what you've ordered in the past and offering you specials around that. I also wonder if me&u integrates into any points type systems, or if that's something you'll offer in the future.
Yeah, we integrate into most of our partners' loyalty programs and stuff, and we also have like our loyalty program which people can use. So we're constantly releasing features around promotions and loyalty and marketing, and our job, we see, is to integrate with the very best that is offered out there. Or if venues specifically want something and everybody's asking for it, we build it. So it's the great thing about me&u is it's backed by hospitality people. Some of our shareholders are Australian deities in the hospitality scene, and they were our original partners. So this is, we said to hospitality, what do you want? What's going to help you? And then to customers, what do you want? So this is built by hospitality for hospitality, to enable great customer experiences, but also to help hospitality operators work smarter, work more efficiently, and ultimately be a more profitable and sustainable industry.
Yeah, your customers can be your best R&D department because they're using it live. They can see what's going on and they can say, hey, we need this, and you build it for them. Yeah,
absolutely. Every Thursday, Friday and Saturday night, I get about 17 texts from my friends going, hey, can we get this in? And I would like this. And I'm like, I send it on to my chief product officer. He's like, oh God, Katrina's Monday morning product requests.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you did mention data and analytics before, which is something that a lot of businesses wouldn't have had, or wouldn't have had to anywhere near the degree of granularity that you can have through an online system. So how has the data, the analytics, and the actionable insights that me&u offers, how has that helped hospitality businesses? You touched on that, but there must be some more detail. I mean, getting insight into all of this information must have been life-changing for some of those business owners.
Absolutely. I'll give you a live example. I went to a bar with a girlfriend 2 nights ago. We both ordered a glass of the rosé. She poured, and then I paid via the terminal because they did not have me&u. That'll be solved soon.
Yeah.
And she gave me the small glass. Now, Alex, what I know from our data is that if you present 2 options of a large glass or a small glass, 70% of people choose the large glass.
Yeah.
I also know that if you're ordering a gin and tonic, if you walk up to the bar, you'll get the house pour, Gordon's, and some Schweppes tonic.
Yeah.
Okay. However, if you present that to someone on a beautifully designed UX with the most interesting elements at the top, i.e. a fever tree or a Tanqueray rather than a Gordon's, for example, then about 80% of people will premiumize their order. Now that is life-changing for a bar or a restaurant, because if you can sell for the same transaction a 30% higher ticket, that goes straight to the bottom line because everything else is the sunk cost. So that level of insight that we can share with venues to go, hey, this is what we're seeing on your behavior on the app for your customers. We therefore recommend that you do this, or we therefore recommend that you change your menu around to always have fever tree at the top as opposed to Schweppes tonic, because we both know that you make a higher margin on that product. Then that is transformational for venues. But it's also the customers, even though they've spent probably $1 more, are significantly happier because they are controlling their outcomes.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're able to do it in a way that's not pressurized, not having somebody there looking at you expectantly. It's just on the menu. You've chosen it yourself, and that's what I want. Upgrade.
Exactly. Because Alex, in my 20s, when I was at the bar, what I wanted to go, oh no, I'll have the large glass, please, and the large fries in front of the hot guys that were, standing in the queue behind me. No, but I'm super happy to do it on the app.
Now, I'm actually part of ASCA, the Australian Seniors Computer Clubs Association, and I've often helped older people in my life with their technology. I usually introduce myself at their conferences as a future senior, and I got into the tail end of the very beginning of the digital transformation for humanity by getting my first computer in 1979 when I was 4.5 years old. So, I understand sort of digital natives, but I also understand the issues that older people have with tech. And you gave a wonderful example of your mother who's 72 and, doesn't understand tech, and you've had to teach her, and she got used to the QR codes by necessity through the pandemic. So ordering from a digital menu is second nature to digital natives. And but what other feedback have you had from senior citizens, older customers who have seen this? And have you received feedback from them saying, "Wow, this is the greatest thing," or "Can you make this easier?" I mean, your customers are good R&D prospects for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been really interested in those thoughts and feedbacks from our customers as well. And we have sort of two customers, the venues plus also the end user. But we did do a very large end user survey this year. And what we found was it was over 76% of those who are aged 70 and over, they say they have no concerns with ordering food or drinks through a platform or an app. And that was actually higher than the 18 to 34-year-old group who said I think it's 68%. So it's really interesting that you would think that this is, preferred by digital natives, but feedback from all of our venues and their customers therein is that this is an asset to their night out. They get to spend more time with me and you having, you're not there to stand in the queue. You're there to catch up with a friend or to see your family member or to have a good time. So our Google rating, I think, it says like 60% of reviews say that the technology is a game changer for a night out.
Yeah, well, we've all approached the bar. There's a wall of customers there, and you got to wait or try and catch the attention or somehow squeeze in without annoying everybody else. And yeah, if you can avoid that experience or minimize it as much as possible, then so much the better. Yeah. So I often go to coffee shops, and you see there's some app there to allow you to skip the queue. Does Me&u allow you to pre-order before you're even in the venue to skip the queue?
No, we don't do that yet, but our roadmap, our dev roadmap is long and complex and super exciting. So we don't do that yet, but that was probably definitely in our future. But the way that we always do say skip the queue with Me&u, because you can walk into a bar, or a restaurant, you'll see that the queue is 5 deep, or there's one, waiter across 10 tables. You're going to be queuing. You're going to be waiting. Yeah. So you sit down, scan the QR code or tap the NFC on your table, and you're done in about 45 seconds. Yeah. And everything prints to, the restaurant system. So at the front desk there, we are printing off little tickets, and the chefs are picking them up and putting them up, or the bartenders are pulling them out of the printer. Yours is just beaten everyone else who's queuing.
Yeah. So you can skip the queue once you're there, but you've got to arrive first. You can't be putting the order in the car. You've got to be focusing on driving anyway. And also because the food can, restaurants can be quite efficient. You want to make sure that you arrive before your food arrives. Otherwise, it'll be on the table there waiting. So there is obviously skipping the queue, but yeah, otherwise you'd almost want to have something where your phone is telling the venue when you're going to arrive, so that it doesn't start preparing. If you ever do that, pre-arriving.
But I see that. Totally going to get there, right?
Yeah,
we're totally going to evolve. Driverless cars are just around the corner.
Yeah.
Just in time delivery on all items from a beer to a package. It's all just around our corner.
Yeah. Well, I know that on Domino's, for example, if you ever order from them, you can tell them, hey, don't start cooking until I'm closer. So that technology already exists, but yeah, it's very different to picking up a pizza to, having a fine dining experience where you've got to sit down and, sort of get set before you are ready to start eating. Whereas with pizza, you grab it and go. So you have 1,600 partners globally, and you have over 1,000 venue partners Australia-wide. So can you please tell us about some of them and their success stories?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favourites is this Howard Smith Wharves group up in Brisbane. I don't know if you've been there, Alex, but it's this incredible venue, 3,000 seats across about 6 or 7 different bars and restaurants and experiences. And the team there was super visionary. So we kind of implemented, and we broke the bar that night. it was so successful, and we didn't have, this is one of our very early customers, we didn't have the operational system set up. They didn't have, how to deliver all these drinks that have been ordered, in 2 seconds. So we actually broke them. So we worked with them on, okay, so what do you need to do to make this work? And Adam Flaskus, the owner there, his vision was, I want a beer to be delivered in 3 minutes. So how do we make this work? So we worked with them on redesigning their sequence of service, turning some of their bars into what we call a dark bar or a ghost bar. Basically, you just dispense drinks from there. And then changing, people pulling the beers to having more runners. So there's someone who picks up the drinks, delivers, picks up the drinks, delivers. And so we changed that sequence of service. And, now it was so successful that they came back to us and said, we want some skin in the game. And now they're one of our largest shareholders, because they saw how transformational it was to their bottom line. Yeah. So that's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard of dark kitchens before, never heard of a dark bar, but now I have. And there's a need for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what's another story?
Another one, I think there's lots of venues that came out of pandemic and really struggled, to sustain themselves. They didn't have enough staff to, fully operate throughout the week, etc. And one of our groups, our Pacific Concepts, they own, quite a few different brands, and in their one of their big Mexican chains, they just didn't have enough staff to operate. So me&u, by implementing me&u, it enabled them to achieve 100% of their pre-COVID revenue, but only being open 70% of the days of the week, so of their previous hours. So I thought that was pretty transformational and a great way they can use tech to help solve your problems and help me&u make you smarter and make you a more profitable and sustainable business post the pandemic.
Now, most businesses already have an FPOS terminal, but me&u presumably expands this capability greatly. So who are your preferred technology partners that are presumably white labeling to offer the relevant capabilities in-app? And presumably you can use Apple Pay or whatever is on your phone, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, etc., to pay for the products and services.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 3 ways you can pay. You can either store a credit card in our Progressive web app or use Google or Apple Pay. I prefer the double click on the side and then I'm done. But over half our customers choose to register a credit card, and then they've got the optionality. In terms of, obviously our payment rails, we use Stripe, and we integrate with all major point of sale systems across the globe to enable the connection into the restaurant system and their payment and ordering and stock systems. And then, I guess we like to partner with people who are great. So, we've just signed a deal with Toast, for example, who's a huge point of sale system in the US, where we'll be one of their preferred partners. We have very strong relationships with a few other point of sale houses across the world. So we integrate, with lots of other different platforms around marketing and loyalty as well. So it's how do we bring the best of what we do and help venues really prosper.
So you've obviously had a history in the world of tech that includes hospitality before. So can you please tell us about your work in digital transformation in the travel industry at Contiki, which previously relied on travel agents?
Absolutely. Well, that was a fascinating journey because I was with Contiki for 8 years. I ran in the end some of their mature brands as well, but Contiki was my love because that's where I started with the travel corporation. So Contiki it fascinated me when I joined there in 2014 that 89% of their sales came through travel agents. And I was like, your market, your customers Gen Y, they're absolute digital natives, but they go and see a travel agent to book their $2,000 Contiki. And so what we did there is, travel agents are fantastic for those customers who don't really know what they want to do and need some hand holding, and they deliver an incredible service. But there was also a lot of our repeat customers who'd been on a Contiki, they know what they're doing. They've done the big trip with us around Europe, and then they wanted to go to Sri Lanka, or they wanted to go to India, or they wanted to go around Peru. So we worked to really build out our tech stack and completely change our e-commerce offering so that you could very easily buy a Kentucky online on your phone and transform that business to be a more B2C-led business than a B2B-led business. So that was an incredible journey across that time, whereby now the majority of Kentuckys are sold directly from the brand, and there's 24 servicing on whatever app or communication method that you want, be that WhatsApp through to Facebook. They service every single digital channel. And we find, Kentucky finds, very passionate, Kentucky finds that their customers now just really know exactly what they're doing when they want to travel. Gen Z, who the customer group is now, are very educated on what they want to do, and most of them don't want to talk to anybody. They just do the whole thing online or via chat.
Yeah.
And that when they're purchasing their travel intentions. So that was a really cool transformation in terms of taking something that was quite potentially archaic and then really adapting it for Generation Y and Generation Z.
Yeah, talk about digital transformation. Have you got me&u on Contiki tours yet? Is it on the ship?
No, well, yeah, no. Don't you worry, I'm going to be figuring out how to do that.
Yeah. So what advice can you give for other industries and businesses that are on the precipice of digital transformation? How can businesses best keep up with digital trends? And what is the best way to invest in technology to foster sustainable business growth?
Well, I think the most important thing is to keep learning. For hospitality owners or anyone in any other industry, is keep going and looking at what your competitors are doing. Keep going and looking at other industries and seeing how they're using it, and then spend your time thinking about how does it apply to my world. And we see it, now we have a lot of publicans who are like, oh, I don't know about this, love. I don't really want, technology. I like to chat with my customers. And we're like, well, what's the most important thing about, your experience? And they're like, well, it's the interaction with our customers. And so we're like, well, do you want to do that? Or do you want to have your staff spending time with them, writing down orders and running away? Or do you want to have staff going, hi, how are you? Here's all your beers. Good to see all you boys out. Boys night out, is it? Okay, lovely. All right. Well, tap on if you want some food to go with that.
Yeah, you gave that example before, and it turns people from order takers into welcoming hosts who have the time to foster genuine conversation and meaningful. That's right.
Meaningfully engage. Yeah. So that's just for this industry. But in terms of, I definitely think there's a fear factor sometimes around technology and digital transformation. And, it's so expensive. Is it going to be worth it? But my advice is everything starts with your customer. What does your customer want? And then design with no preconceptions. And generally these days, customers want an easier experience, and they know that comes off their technology or their phone, etc. So regardless of any industry, it's embrace it. Better get on the train, otherwise the train will depart without you. But listen to your customers. And don't listen to what they want. Good old Henry Ford. If I'd listened to my customers, they just would have got, they would have got faster horses and not wanted a car. They just wanted faster horses. Yeah. Listen to what is the problem of your customers are trying to solve, not what they specifically say that they want, and then use technology to help in that. I think, and get good people, because there's a lot. Get good people on to help you on your technology transformation journey.
Yeah, find those pain points and solve them, but really investigate what those pain points are, so you're solving the deeper problem, not the surface symptom.
Exactly.
So what else should we know about me&u that I haven't already asked?
There's so many things to go. Well, we've just launched our second product, which is more for the premium white table end of the market. So if you're going to a rock pool or a sake or a North Bondi fish, those premium kind of white tablecloth beautiful experiences, you want to talk to the sommelier, you want to engage and have a very premium experience. So you don't probably want to order and then have it delivered. So our second product is at the end of the evening, when your bill is delivered in that beautiful leather wallet, they say, thank you so much for coming to dine with us tonight, Alex. If you just scan the QR code on your receipt there, you can pay. So that's our second product. And so you can, share the QR code around, and you and the girlfriends don't have to fight over who's paying for what piece, or you can all agree to split it equally. And you're also not spending your time going, oh, hi, can we get a bill at 10:30 at night when you've had 2 wines and really need to go home to bed? You don't have to wait for the terminal to come over. And then you don't have to, talk about how we're splitting. And then you don't have to work out the tip. You just scan the QR code, do whatever you want. So that's our second product, which we've just launched. And we're launching that across 80 venues in Australia as our beta market. And we'll be taking that to the UK and the US very soon. And the other thing to know is we're very, very lucky in terms of we're a pre-COVID business, and that we're, a few years ahead on all our competitors in terms of technology. And we're very focused on our strategy, which is large format venues. So we're very disciplined about what we do and where we focus. And I just think this is going to be a very exciting growth journey for me&u and also the industry over the next few years.
Just to change gears for a little bit, I always like, as we get towards the end of the interview, just to ask if you could please share a memory of your first computer.
I think it was actually a Commodore 64. It had the blue screen, DOS prompt, etc. And I think we could play, there was a game, Carmen San Diego, which I know isn't actually quite a big game, but there was that, and we could type. That was it. And I remember all of us, my mum, dad, and my sister sitting around not really knowing what to do. And it took about 10 minutes to boot, right?
Yeah. To load the games and things, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we never really quite knew how it worked. And then I went on to study IT at university, actually. So my undergraduate was in IT in my commerce degree. So I was programming in COBOL back then, and that was, I think, the next experience I had with computers, because it was in zero. There was no computers at my high school. So I think we went from the Commodore 64 to when I was at university doing IT. So
amazing stuff. Amazing, yes. I always love to hear the stories of how people, got exposed to computers for the first time. And the Commodore 64 is one that's very common to hear about.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you see me&u evolving over the next couple of years?
Look, I think there's probably 1 to 3 winners in this space globally. And I think there's 3 companies who do this really well right now. There's a lot of other copiers, and I think the market shakeout that's happening now, is consolidating. So I think there's a lot of organic growth in this, and a lot of also active growth. And I think we'll end up being one of the 2 or 3 main players in this business globally. Yeah. And we're sort of a few years ahead on the tech on everyone else. So I think it's going to be a really exciting global business, where hospitality looks back on sort of these COVID years as where the foundation started, and where hospitality started to transform using technology.
And so if you gaze into the crystal ball and we sort of go 10 years into the future, into the 2030s, the metaverse should be everywhere, and people's AR, mixed reality glasses should be as commonplace as smartphones and tablets are today. I mean, I'm assuming you won't have to scan a QR code. You'll see the menu, you'll see the dishes, you'll just tap it or something with your hand. And any
tap it on my Google glasses and, 3 taps and I'm ordered.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping we don't replace the experience of my rosé and my schnitty.
Yeah.
I'm holding on to that, Alex.
Yeah. Virtual food is not the same as real food.
Yeah.
It's not as tasty. So my second last question to you is, what is some of the best advice that you've received in life to help you get where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. I worked for the Virgin Group for 7 years, and, working with Richard closely, it was, kind of a transformational time, and that taught me how to lead. And, 2 things that, one that he's famous for, and one he said directly to me, and, one famous for is that it's, don't worry about your shareholders. Most companies think about their shareholders first. But, the way we do it at Virgin is you focus on your employees first. If you have happy, professionally and personally growing employees, they'll take care of your customers, and your customers will take care of your shareholders. And I am, that is how I lead. I focus on my employees and know that the rest takes care of itself. And then the second piece he said to me was, do good, you want to do business and pick your partners and do it with good people. Doesn't matter how big the opportunity is, just, pick good people to work with. And so at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good the tech is or how this, unless they're good humans, your partners and your staff and everyone around in your ecosystem, that is what I focus on. Working with great humans and focusing on my team. And I think that is the way that I lead. And that's probably the best advice I ever received.
There you go. So what is your final message to iTWire viewers and readers and to your current and future customers and partners?
Tap on with me&u and have a magical experience out.
Well, Katrina Barry, the CEO of me&u, thank you very much for your time. I look forward to using your products the next time I'm out, and I hope we can talk again in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alex. Lovely to chat.
Great. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.